they're coming your way. You will get a phone call from the library when they have collected enough. We are going to do Philip Roth's The Counter Life. And unless I get, as I said, I went through a number of books with them, but they're not completely back in service, so that some of the libraries that they count on for exchanges are not yet up. So a couple of books that are that I had asked for, I just couldn't assure me that they had them. So this is going to be our first book, and it has been chosen. Let me find it. I think I mentioned to this before, and of course it's the wrong way. I got it. There is a collection from a website called Great My Jewish Learning, which has wonderful. I recommend it to everyone. I don't know how I got it. It must be from some other organization that sent it to me, but they have lovely articles, and they have a series called Great Jewish Books, and every couple of days they add another. They're doing it from the 1920s to the 2010s.
Wow.
We are now up to the 1990s, and it's a decade's worth of books with a selection of the outstanding author of the decade. So this Philip Roth, who wrote the Counter Life in 1986. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. This is the 80s. So this is the best book of the best author of the 80s. And so you will get a copy, and we will discuss it. We have talked about Roth before, and he's always a meaty person to talk. I didn't say needy, I said meaty person to talk about. And what I'm going to do is to put downstairs, I have made copies of the Great Jewish Books from the 20s to the 90s, and I'm going to leave a pile in my, I'm at 12 Bond Street, and I'd like you all to pick up the packet. They give a description of what is considered by, they don't have the specific person, but I'm going to try to find out. This is brought to you by My Jewish Learning, the must-reads for the last 100 years. So I think that sounds pretty pretentious, perhaps, but I think you won't go wrong with the Counter Life. And I'm going to give you a packet that has the review of each book that's on this selection. And what I'd like you to do, if you see something on it that you said, we really must read, it sounds like a book for us, please let me know, and I'll try to get it. I am going to say, I tried to get, and I haven't been able to, the one for the 90s was called Dolly, D-O-L-L-Y, City, by Orly Castell Bloom, who is about Israeli life. However, the library doesn't have enough copies of that, and so you'll be surprised at what they don't have copies of. But they do have copies of the Counter Life. Well, I'm not saying I'm settling, I'm just saying, let's just start off that way, okay?
Rona,
yes.
is that the book where Lindbergh becomes president?
No. We already talked about that book.
Right.
That was the book that, and Lindbergh was drawing it for a second.
What was the name of that?
What was the name of that book?
I remember.
Wait. Plot Against
America. Okay, because that was on recently on television.
And I want to mention that I thought they did a very good job. There was a mini series. It was
excellent.
Ladies, you're not muted, and it just makes it very hard to hear. Down at the bottom, you have a mute button.
Rona, when is this book? When are you going to?
Now Marsha, there she's got to. We're going to make this the usual monthly read, because first of all, it's going to take some time for you to get it, and secondly, I don't expect you to spend every minute of between now. So it will be the first Tuesday. No, it can't be the first Tuesday in August. It'll be the last Tuesday in August. And I do have a calendar here. I want to make sure it's not some holiday or something.
No, that's in September.
Yeah, yes. Well, we take care of even little ones.
Last Tuesday is the 25th of August.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to discuss this on the 25th of August.
Okay.
Unless that doesn't mean we're not meeting, unless people would prefer doing it that way. We can still meet and we can discuss books that people are reading right now. And we'll just go into more depth of the book at the end of the month. If you all find that you've read the book and you don't want to wait the month, just let me know, either by email or we can even have it as we're very democratic with a little d. But here's Philip Roth, The Couch of Life. And this is not one of his stranger books, like the one about the breast. So I'm just saying that, I think you'll enjoy it. It's certainly,
Okay.
it'll be good for you.
Please, I read about, hi, Rona. Please repeat the title. I read the review of this and it sounds wonderful, but I can't remember the title name.
Counter Life, Philip
Okay,
Roth.
thank you.
Now, the thing is, you will please, there's always a space in front of my apartment, 12 Bond Street, and I will leave I'll leave a packet for each person to pick up. So to look through the other books in the other decades, but especially The Counter Life. So, and we did, and also Philip Roth, we did, and I think we had an excellent. I remember the first time, and then even the second time. Every time I reread that book, it made me frightened. So I wasn't sure how I was going to enjoy. HBO has I don't know how many it was, a 6-part series, a mini series on that with bringing to life that book. And I do. If you have access to HBO, it is a streaming series, and I do recommend it if somehow or other you can get a hold of it. So
Also very disturbing.
very disturbing, and interesting choice of actors and so forth. So we could actually maybe when we do The Counter Life, we could also. I'll give you enough time to look at if you can, to look at the series, and we'll talk if you think that it was a good adaptation. Did it stray too far from the book? And what did you think of the actors they chose for parts? So,
But you're talking about The Counter Life, not The Plot Against
no.
America.
I'm talking about. As far as I know, there's no adaptation of The Counter Life. But I'm just saying, when we discuss The Counter Life, we might just take a couple of minutes to talk about the adaptation of Plot Against America. Now, all right, so that is our bookkeeping. I also now want to mention what I'm reading at the moment and enjoying. And if someone wants to, I don't have it right in front of me, so I am afraid to take my screen down because I don't know what happened back. So I am reading The Book of V. This is a library copy, and I'll be finished with it in a day or two. If somebody else is interested, I'll leave that downstairs for you. It is, the V is for Vashti, Vera. It is 3 different V's. It's the story of Esther. There is a sort of, I don't know if everyone has read The Red Tent, but it's the same idea as The Red Tent when someone is making a midrash. We don't know the details of what happened in Esther's life. We don't know what happened to Leah and Rachel, and we didn't know about the Jacob and his family. But I think Diamond, what was her name? Anita Diamond wrote, and if you haven't read that, it's a really, it's a thick book, but I thought it was, in the end, it was a wonderful book. And this too is one of the 3 strands that's come together is the story of Esther. And then the other two were two modern women looking at the story of a family one in the 70s and one closer to our now. And I'm enjoying it very much. And Anna Solomon is going to be on a Zoom in the next week or two. And if anybody wants, I will give you the link. Just let me know. And I've found these discussions on Zoom a real silver lining of this period, because like last night I listened to Chris. Joseph, what is his name? A new book by the Fox Sunday News caster who just had a very revealing interview of Trump. Wrote a book about the Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and the background of the atomic bomb in this country. And he spoke beautifully, and I'm definitely going to get the book myself. So if that's a topic anybody likes, I'll be glad to share the book. Not for the library, but it'll be a book for us. So I'll be happy to pass it on to anybody. Okay. And before we get into your collections, I have one more timely share. It's a very unimpressive looking book. However, tomorrow night is the beginning of Tisha B'Av. And I thought that it would not hurt us to spend a couple of minutes on, in a time when I feel the anxiety that I'm sure that the Jews of old felt at that time. Tisha B'Av is not exactly set on is the complete historical, like many Jewish holidays. The historical aspect of it is a little bit, there are more than one way to look at it, but theoretically it is a commemoration of the destruction of the first and second temple. It has come over time to include anything that happened in this time of year in Jewish history. So we have all kinds. We have the Inquisition and the dispersion of the Jews in 1492. The people bring in information about Hitler, and then other times it's also pogroms. I mean, there's plenty of evidence all the way through. And the book of the Bible that is recited at this time is the Book of Lamentations, which one could easily see the connection, and a absolutely magnificent book. We have a copy. This is Podwall. I'm sure you have seen his work. He has a very outstanding Haggadah, but he did the Book of Lamentations, and it was illustrated by Chagall, and you can see through the book. This is on one side is the verses from Lamentations, and on the other side we have many of these times. And this one is about the Inquisition. We have a Spanish warrior, and we have, and then here we have Hitler's, and they have Hitler's soldiers carrying. You could think it is a mashup of Hitler's soldiers with the destruction of the temple, because that's obviously a menorah from the first or second temple. Oh, and I don't see it here. My favorite, they also have a galleon, and that's to commemorate the expulsion in 1492. And the illustrations are magnificent. And this was a book from the 80s. And this was signed by Podwell, and it's 100 copies were made, and this is 90. So this is a very good book. And in the very end, the Book of Lamentation is dedicated to the endurance of Jerusalem. And here is the it's hard to see, but when you get closer, there's a wedding ring. I don't know if anyone's seen. There's some very ornate wedding rings I think we may very well have one in the Temple Museum. But you can see it's a ring. I don't know how anybody ever really wore it for anything. And I know when you get married, you actually have to have a simple band.
Playing, yeah.
So,
Open.
but
Yeah.
there's, I think it's called a wedding ring. Maybe it is given by the groom to the bride. But there are services starting Wednesday night, and then there'll be some there as it is a holiday of a mourning. So it's a fast day, and it is a day when one does not indulge in festive things. You can go to work, but it's frowned upon. You don't do things that pleasurable things, including sex and games, and I do remember most specifically of not being allowed to go swimming at camp. So so this is tomorrow night, and then Wednesday is Tisha B'Av, and may we have no additional instances where we can put into the holiday mix. So there we have it. As I said, the Book of Solomon. This is by Anna Solomon. I don't mean the book. A Book of V by Anna Solomon, and I'd be delighted to share it with anyone who would like to look at it as well. Not today, but by the end of the week. And so I think we're going to start with Irene, who has brought. Oh, I'm sorry. I did mention what I had wanted was a. And I think it's the part where I feel it, and I'm sure everybody does, that you're home more, that you're straightening more, you're looking through things more, and they're having more meaning. I have to find, we went to I took my sister, who is not here. She's at the podiatrist today. I don't think she's been less than 3 doctors since we're here, but she's going to have to straighten out, and she's getting part of the lot. But we went to the ophthalmologist yesterday, who happened to be a neighbor of mine. I don't know if you want to see it, because I don't think you'll recognize. I don't think it's large enough for you to see it. I don't recognize the person in it. But she said, she was looking through her pictures, the same thing that I'm doing, that we've been doing, and she said, "Do you want this picture?" And that's her and her husband, whom I didn't recognize. Joseph always looks the same, and I didn't recognize Rona. there I am with extremely short hair, which I'm back to. So there we are. So I'm just saying that I think we're spending a lot of time, and I've always been a collection person, not so much a craft person, but certainly I see collections everywhere. Now, Irene, is this a collection? It's a collection of crafting, I think, isn't that right?
Yes.
Could she have center stage? She's gonna find Irene Wachter.
Okay. We have things laid out all over.
Okay, but we
Great-grandma,
want you in the middle. There she is.
okay.
Okay.
Great-grandma Wachter gave all of her young couples who got engaged a blanket that she crocheted. Can you see it?
Yes.
It's very heavy. She must have used the heaviest yarn. I found it up in the attic yesterday. I didn't know it was still there, but it wasn't as hot as I thought it was going to be. And this she did, I would guess, in 1961. And she was probably 60 years old. We thought she was an old woman, but we were so young that we just didn't know age at the time. And with this gift came a beautiful sterling silver, two candlesticks, but they're pure silver. And if you've been in Great Neck, say 50, 60 years, where Associated is now, we had an A&P. And to the right of A&P, there was a store called Wolkoff's. Does anybody remember that? It was the precursor to Morel. Very fine dishes, very fine silver. And for each of her 8, I'm going to take this for candlelighting out. For each of the 8 grandchildren, each got a beautiful pair of these, every identical candlesticks throughout the family. And they were $500 at the time because it was pure silver. So this is a treasure that we use to keep our feet warm, to throw on top of a bed if it was cold. And then I'm going to move you on to something my mother did. I knew about this, but I really hadn't opened it for a very long time. This is a tablecloth that she started to embroider in her 20s when we were in our first house.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow.
I can move it around and around. There is a middle as well. And the work on the reverse side is so meticulous. You can see where she had to end the thread and then go on and take a new piece of thread. But really, it's in magnificent shape. And I was probably 6 when she was working on this. So that goes back a long time. The work of art in the family. And it's on another chair, but I'm going to lift it. And this is a craft. And this is something to be handed down, down from generation to generation. Each square contains 16 little squares. And looking at this, I can't, okay, it's this
Can you
side.
stand up and hold it up?
Yes, I will. I'm gonna keep pulling it so that you can see the colors.
Fabulous.
I think that she must have started with a circle and then pulled it in so that she got a very small circle. And
Can you
when-
just hold one square up still for a minute so we could really
She wants to
see?
see that. Do it even
I'll show you I'll show you a
Wow.
colorful one so that you can see it better. How's that one?
Beautiful. Very pretty.
She started working on this when she was 16. And my
Wow.
grandfather said he would make a party when she finished. 10 years later, when she was 26, she finished it. And this
Fabulous.
was the top of my bed. This was my bed cover. And she made a bed skirt also that was green and just muslin going across so that the beauty of this would show. So those are my treasures. They're very old. And I intend to pass these down to the children so that they have it for their children.
How are you going to decide who gets what?
Well, I'm in the
I-
process. Who would appreciate it more? Nancy and I did a lot of sewing, and I taught both of my girls how to sew. Lisa said, I don't need to know how to do that. Nancy can sew anything. She even has sewn sun rails in Florida and stitched them and taken off the grommets and restitched them, standing on a ladder and nailing it into her house. She and I can sew very well. Lisa sends out whatever has to be done. So, but in terms of appreciation, I think that Nancy would get the bed cover that I had. Lisa would probably appreciate the tablecloth because she loved my mother very much. And great grandma, it's a toss-up. They can flip a coin, and whoever gets whatever heads up first, they get to pick, do they want it or not want it. I'm still trying to decide things in the house. It's going to take a long time. What goes to who? And I think we're all thinking about that as we're getting older.
Thank you so much, Irene. That was fantastic. And you are very fortunate to have such a creative family.
Yes,
It's
thank you.
amazing.
Thank you for letting me share. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, now I know Laura has, as always, I always check that she has something before we have a meeting, because I know that she's always, I don't know where she puts it, but she has something of everything in this world.
Not only do I find room for it all, yesterday, my granddaughter moved back from her Upper West Side apartment into her parents' house in Great Neck, and some of the contents of her apartment ended up in my basement. We're hoping it'll just be temporary, maybe a year till the world settles down. But let me just see. I have something in front of my face here. Later. Okay, I have something. First of all, I just want to say, I took this, when we met in the park, I took this book from Rona. It's one of the Temple Library books, and I enjoyed it very much. We had discussed The Waking Lions, and this is by the same author. It's another book about the main character. There are really two parallel stories here, and how entrapped you can get by a simple early lie that follows you, and how people don't even want to know about it sometimes. They just get tired of trying to find the trail for it. If anybody would like to read this, who's in my relatively immediate area, I'd be glad to drop it off for you. Otherwise, I'll bring it back to Rona.
Thank you.
Okay, just call me if you want it. Okay, on handicrafts, similarly to Irene's, there was a period of time when I think cross-stitching was very, very popular. And this one came from my mother-in-law's house, and we believe that she did it, although it may have been her aunt. We just never knew that this was made with a thread that is variable in color, so you never have to change the needle. And therefore, like Irene said, the back is absolutely as perfect as the front. Pattern,
Beautiful.
you don't get the breaks, and it fills my table with one leaf. And I was just using it last week. You know,
Oh, how nice.
it washes beautifully. It doesn't even, it's on some kind of a, I don't know what the material is, but it just almost like shakes out from the dryer. Doesn't, if you put it right on the table, it doesn't need touching up. So
Wow.
Very nice.
that's that. When I was married my first year, I don't know, I had time for it because I was in college and then I was starting to work. I did this. This was like my first of my handicrafts as a married woman.
Oh, it's lovely.
Oh, beautiful.
I enjoyed doing crewel work. I never did needle joints, but I like doing crewel work with the different stitches. This is actually supposed to be a spice chart. It was color coded, so you'd know which spices went with which ingredients. And of course,
Ah,
it's not exactly, as you can see, it's not exactly a kosher chart. Okay, on to collections. We have a cartoon here, which I found probably in Newsday. I can't see if there's a year on it. And the husband is saying, Enid, it's either me or the salt and pepper collection. When I was a little girl, I loved seeing this pair of salt and pepper in my grandparents' house.
Oh,
These are sterling,
Oh,
and we actually used them to fill them. The man's head comes off.
oh, that adorable.
The lady's hat comes off.
oh.
And this is my whole childhood. I think whenever the family ate together, these were used on the table. They
How
became
beautiful.
my mother's, and then my mom gave it to me. I don't know if that was the start of it, but people started bringing me salt and pepper shakers. They were all in the form of couples.
Was
All
there
in the form of couples. So I have a tray full here. Let me see if I can get the picture on it well. So there's just a tray full. I have dozens of pairs of men and women, all different sorts.
Oh,
From our travels, from people brought us from different places. This was a really odd shape. When these we picked up in Israel with the
Wow.
hat, the soldier and the kibbutz hat.
yeah.
oh, look at that.
Yeah. And then here's when we lived in Holland for the year, we of course had to bring back ceramic Dutch boy and girl to go with the silver ones. Let's see, there's a Hasidic couple. Their hands actually link,
Oh,
and which actually is not so orthodox, but their hands link and they dance together. And many more. So
You keep them together?
most of them I keep in a box in a cabinet.
Okay.
The ones that my grown-up kids still like these, which are not people, but they love these dinosaurs. And we call
Uh,
them.
oh, how cute.
Yeah. So it's, it's just a sweet little collection that just happened without being asked for, among all the other things that we collect in the house. That's
You
it.
collect them because you have do you go out looking for them, or they just fall in your hands
A
somehow?
lot of them, there are lots more that I haven't shown you. They sort of they came as house gifts. Or if we were someplace and we said, oh, that's a cute one, and if it was appropriate for the theme, we might pick it up. Which one? Maybe this one, another elegant dancing couple.
Oh, how cute.
So that's it. No, we didn't really say we love salt. In fact, we never put salt on the table. We're a no salt house. So we don't even, if they're on the table, they're really for decoration or for the others.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you so much, too. All right. Now, I know those two told me they were bringing something. Does anyone else?
I have,
Okay, Iris.
yes.
Iris Adler, could we have a?
I'm working on it. Where are you, Iris? Hi,
Okay.
Iris.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, I'll start with the collections first. And one of my very special collections, I collect dreidels. And I can just give you all different types, paper cut. They come from like all over. I have two from our trip to Russia. This one in particular, you open it up and it has other dreidels. Wait, here I am. All right, let Charlie hold the thing. This one that comes from Russia are the little, opens up like this. And did you get all the rest of these? And this one also is from Russia, even though it's a scene of Jerusalem, handmade in Russia. I'll take this one. And all sizes, all shapes, little ones. And then I have my silver ones over here I took out of the cabinet.
Wow.
I
All
recognize
different.
some of those from the shop.
Yes, a lot of them are from the shop. Charlie would buy me one almost every year.
We still have
So
more.
that's the dreidel collection. And I also collect Swarovskis, a little Swarovski
Mhm.
glass, but it's not a whole bunch of little ones. I don't know, it doesn't show up too well. The little ones over here too.
Wow. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are my collections. And then the crafts, I do needlepoint. And I've made a number of talus bags. This was the first one I made for Charlie.
Beautiful.
So colorful.
And I also made for the collar to match, the talus collar. Right.
Beautiful.
And I made 3 more for each of my grandsons for their bar mitzvah, which I have pictures of. But I also, my mother-in-law was big on embroidery too. And she made one of these. This is a matzah cover. It has these 3 compartments for the matzah.
Hmm.
And she made one for each of her children and their spouses. The only thing is, I don't know if anyone can help. This is very badly stained. I guess it was by wine. I can't get the stains out. Does anyone have any suggestions? If you see there.
OxyClean.
I was just going to say OxyClean. Brenda said it.
OxyClean?
Yeah, a lot of tablecloths. I managed to
I'll
start
try
with.
that.
You could try a lemon. Just squeeze lemon juice on it too.
Oh, okay. I was
I would
thinking
be
of
very
almost.
careful with the OxyClean because this is an old piece of fabric, and
Very, yes.
depending on what the fiber is, I would be very leery to use the OxyClean. The lemon, you just have to be careful with the acid on it.
Mm.
Okay.
I would
I was almost thinking of tinting it, but then it would take away
No.
from the design.
I would leave it alone.
Okay.
You know what?
It
It
shows
it
that it's
shows that it
used.
was used by a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would
That's
hate
true.
for
You're
anything
right.
to happen to it.
Right. And then Irene had shown Afghans, which my mother-in-law also made. And when she finally had a granddaughter, after 9 grandsons, she made these for the dolls for the girls. I have a
Oh,
few of them. This one and this one. My daughter was the first granddaughter born. She made these. And this one also were all doll blankets. So she did that. Crocheted, right. And here, Charlie, hold this. I just have one last thing. Hold this 1 minute. I have pictures of the other talus bags I made. This one, got that? I just made for the upcoming one that was supposed to be in October, but will be postponed. And it has his Hebrew name
Beautiful.
that he had done.
beautiful.
Yeah, that one I just gave away to be made into a talus bag. And the other 2 are here. This one was for one grandson and just their personalities. I mean, this grandson is just a colorful, all over the place kind of guy. And, I have them engraved on the inside, Made with Love by Grandma Iris. And the other one, where's the other one? Was here. This was the first one. This was for Jacob. He picked it himself. This is Jacob's ladder
Oh,
with his name. So
Ah.
those are the 4 talus bags I made.
very nice.
And
I think
they
it's
each,
time-
they take, what?
I think it's time to make another one for Charlie.
Actually, I want to do one for my son-in-law now.
Okay.
I would have made for the 2 girls coming up also, but they said that they weren't going to wear talaisim, so I didn't bother. It takes well over a year to make one, and I really, with 3 coming up in the fall, I didn't really have time. But now I seem to have a lot more time. We don't know what's going to be happening. And that's my story.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you all. Do we have another? I mean, I tell you, you better come up with something or else I'm going to.
I do.
What?
I do.
Okay. Marcia.
Talking about dolls, I knit
Oh.
dolls' clothes for the American Girl doll. And this is
Oh.
one thing that I made. It's a little dancing outfit.
Oh, is that cute?
And then it's her shoes. This is a dress.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Nice.
This is a dress.
Oh, how beautiful.
Are there patterns for this or did you have to figure that out?
I have a couple of books and I've put pattern, I've done a skirt from one book, a top from another. Sometimes I copy the same book, but just so that I don't get discouraged. I make the dolls' clothes. So I've made skirts and dresses and pants, and these are 2 of the outfits that I've made.
How beautiful.
Wonderful. Okay.
Okay, that's
I
it.
wish I knew that a few years back. The girls have outgrown their American Girl
Oh, yeah.
dolls.
Well, I have the dolls. 2 of them are from my granddaughter in North Carolina, and 1 is from my granddaughter here. They've contributed the dolls to Grandma, so I can make the clothes.
That's wonderful.
Do you change their outfits by the season?
I did it one time. I lost interest. I don't do it anymore.
They're beautiful.
All right. Any other contenders for chief displayer? Yeah. Okay. All right, lady. Let me just point out that sometimes people just have to be coaxed And so I'm just saying, or they have to get ideas from other people. So maybe you don't realize that you are either crafty or a collector. And I'm only mentioning that at any future time that someone thinks about it and something else comes to their mind, then please, you are welcome at any time to contribute. I tell you, this has been, I'm going to show you how simple a collection you can have. Yes, here we go. I have to admit, I like to collect things, and I am some of these, I can't show you what was my biggest collection. I had 52 teapots, all made by one company. And I have to say, I just had no room here for them. So that when we disposed of our summer house, I took them to one lady who looked horrified. She was up in the Berkshires. It's right place for from hunters of collections, and that's where I started. We had a very close to us, not quite walking distance, but a very close to us on Sunday, they had a real flea market. I'm not talking about, somebody bringing in a new shoddy material, but really every table was somebody who was doing collectibles. So somebody had a teapot, an Aladdin-shaped teapot that had an insert, which I do have, but I'll bring them next time. I really wasn't, it was a little heart-wrenching to lose them all.
You can take pictures of them. You don't have to bring them.
Well, I don't have them. I only have two. I only have two left. I was searching for my picture. I did take a picture.
Oh.
The person who bought my house thought that it came with the house. I said, oh, no. That is not part of the house. Anyway. Well, because it is a kind of a house where one could put up in an old-fashioned kitchen, had no counter space, but had lots of room. So we did put up a cat. So my collection is my virus hat collection. You tell me which ones you like best. This is my favorite because it goes with most things. So.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
But I have had the most compliments on this one because of it. It's very pretty. Anyway,
I like that.
So pretty.
And then when we were in Australia, I don't even think it was for me, maybe Joseph got it, but it's my Australian bush, which I've only worn once when I was going to some very high. So you can make a collection of anything. So I think of everything in terms of a collection. I really don't have much in the way of a personal connection, but I have, because Carol, just you have to wave at everybody. Carol discussed it with me, how much she thought that people would like. I have over time, Carol, that I have over time, I am no longer collecting them because we just really don't have time. We don't have room now. I have encouraged people to bring in book collections that usually were from either they're moving or it's from a relative who's no longer with them. And so while most of them were moldy books, every once in a while I would get, I haven't told you about the best collection here because I'm looking at it and I'm seeing two pictures. My husband collects, we'll have him do it next week. He's a Dodger fan, a Brooklyn Dodger fan, and has a number of appropriate Dodger memorabilia. I'm sorry, I interrupted myself. That not only did people did they bring in books, but it was not usually. It was usually a family who had an older uncle or maybe not even a very close relative who brought in, or put into the boxes, didn't even mention them, and I'd find a Tallis bag, or I'd find, or else I'd find some prayer books. And I could never give away things so personal. And so I have decorated I've decorated the library with them. And Carol said this is something that you probably, it would be good for you to share. So I have brought them in. I only brought in two collections. But what I found, I'm very much a history person, and what I brought in were a number of talus bags.
A number of what?
Talus bags. Because I didn't get them back for my children, but I mean, my children, not by me, did have made, people made talus bags for them. And, what I have kept on one of the shelves in the library that people very often put talus and tefillin bags in. And they were, the ones that I kept were the ones that were handmade. And I don't know that anybody does that now, except when they do not crochet, and then if they do a needlework one. But these are talus bags that were handmade. Here is
Talus bags and
handmade talus bags, and they had there's someone. I can't imagine it. I guess.
Oh, this colors.
I can't tell. It does. I can't tell because they're all lined. I think this had to have been done with crewel or something. And we know it's a homemade talus bag. I think it's just charming.
It is.
Because it is closed with two buttons. And the inside is all of them are charming. All the taluses are very ordinary, but it's just interesting. They all look like this, but the talus bags are memorable, and I make up a story with each one. And you can see this was done.
That would be special.
Okay, and I think it's charming. This one is beautiful. I'm not sure that this was homemade, but it was just so different that I thought it has two. I mean, I'm not sure why they did it this way, unless it was, I don't know why, but and here's the back. But it was so different that, yet this looks like it was done. I can't believe that this was handmade. It's possible, but I can't tell because it's lined, but there's no doubt that the lining was hand done. This was not done by machine. So if anybody has any information, has ever seen one like this or knows anything about this kind of thing, it has a name on the back and it has a beautiful monogram. I guess it can be done by machine, but maybe at home.
You'd have to take the lining out to see how it's done.
Exactly. I'm not doing that. Maybe, maybe somebody who is a seamstress would be willing to do that for us, but there's no doubt that that this was done, not done, handmade, the lining. So,
Rona, can I share a tefillin bag that I adapted?
yes.
Okay, we've emptied a good number of family homes through the years, and in one of them, and I can't even identify it now, there was just a plain tefillin bag with very old tefillin in it. We did not put a note in to recall whose bag it was. It had no decoration on it, very old. You can tell by the kind of cotton and the wear on it, hand stitched in. It had two buttons and they were missing. I took two buttons. My mother always kept the buttons from all our children's our clothing when we were growing up. And then she would sew them onto my children's clothing or my sister's children's clothing when she handmade them. So these are two buttons from one of my childhood outfits. And I adapted this to be an etrog bag for taking an etrog to synagogue.
Look at that.
And I did this freehand, and I see just by storage, without protecting it, the wool is starting to come apart. I have to repair it. But this was just one night. I said, "Oh, we're going to temple tomorrow. I think I should have something to put it in that's appropriate." And then I used to make these out of antique fabrics, which I have an attic full, and these are to cover the lulavs. And I would cut them, they slip in. And we made these for a whole lot of different people at one time.
Such a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. And
I have one that I forgot to bring out that my mother-in-law made from upholstery samples that she was picking out a new couch, and so she just put them together, and it's just adorable. I love it. Yeah, but you can see, yeah, very.
I know, Rona and
Yes.
Laura, you just mentioned, Charlie just said that his father made his tefillin bag, which looks very similar to yours, Laura. It has the 2 buttons.
right.
And, but he was a tailor,
Taylor.
and he made it. And he just put a little bit of a design on, just a Jewish star. But
Oh,
it's so
love
similar
it.
to the one you have, Laura.
Let me see the lining.
It even just looks like the same fabric.
Is the lining machine sewn or is it hand sewn?
Look at the lining.
This looks machine sewn, so he must have, he probably put it in and turned it inside out.
Mm-hmm.
He was, as I said, he was a tailor,
Right.
and he used to make all of Charlie's suits and clothes and things.
Wow.
But it's so similar to the one that Laura just showed.
That's very nice.
But that looks kind of big. You said that's a fill-in? It looks,
It's tefillin. Well,
it's a big.
his tefillin was very big too.
Oh my! Look at that.
Wow.
Must have been a big man.
That's
No, he
amazing.
wasn't actually. He
I've
wasn't a big man.
never seen one that big. But this only has one. But
Yeah.
I think that some people here, we see them, that they adapted, or you see, they all, oh, no, not that, this one is filling, but there's another one just like it, I mean, about the same size, but I think that they added,
But you have to go back to Rona.
oh, I'm sorry.
Picture.
Iris, that's a wonderful thing for Charlie to have.
Yes.
Yes.
Father, very
Yes.
emotional and lovely.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, we have, these are, they're very much alike, but they have, I think they were done by people, the insides make them look like they were made at home. And I don't know, I had to find from somebody who would know about, these look like professional work on the embroidery, but you see, this one has they have different trim that I think has to have been put on by the people. See, they all have a similar
It
trim.
was homemade, or?
I don't know.
Charlie said he also has one with a drawstring. He doesn't know though whether it was homemade. His father might have made it for him at one point, but
Oh.
so maybe back then that was the style.
No, I'm sure. And then this one has one button, but they all seem to have a fringe, but they're different fringes. And, but let me see. I have one, I'm not going to go through all of these, but 2 of them. This might be even somebody who knows.
Oh. Rona, can you hold the one up with the drawstring? That's
There are
what Charlie wanted to look at.
2 of them.
Mhm.
They will both have a fringe on the bottom, and well, one is bigger, but they're drawstrings.
Thank you.
And they both have inside that you can tell from the inside. And somebody nicely put, oh, I maybe did it. Cyril
Ro-
Herman. Cyril Herman.
Rona, I have to leave. I'm sorry.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. I know it. But they all of the ones that we have here, the inside was done at home. I mean, and this one I love. I mean, it's obviously an older one. It's Ralph Duchovny. Is that a name that anybody knows?
Oh,
I don't know. It just,
that's so familiar.
it sounds familiar to me. I just was hoping somebody else would tell me.
Rona,
Yeah.
this is the one that Charlie just, with the
Okay.
drawstring and the fringe also.
Can we look at Iris again? She has a,
Yeah.
okay. See, look
So
at
it has the
it's
fringe on
very
the bottom.
similar, very similar. Yes.
And the
And,
drawstring, which doesn't work too well, but
But that, see, does it have yes, it's very, obviously that was a pattern, but I want to know, and I'll bet, look at the inside. Was it hand sewn?
I don't know. It's
By machine,
yes,
by the way.
it could have been. It's just a plain gold.
Yeah, it looks like it's hand sewn. Okay. Well, all right, and my final, see, I have another one. There's so many of them with the drawstring and
What does that say?
it says to fill in. I think it was, but I just think it may be a combination.
Do you have a drawstring on yours or not?
All right,
I
this
have a
one,
couple from my husband, and they both have drawstrings, and one has, on the inside of the lining, it must have ripped or something because there's stitches that were repaired
Whose
on the
was that?
inside.
okay, let's, and this, all right, I have two things more, not to drive you crazy. I'll save the rest, I'll save the,
This might be Richard.
I'll save the, but I think you'll be happy to see.
All of them
I'll
do.
save the prayer books for later.
Those are my favorite.
I wanted to show you this. I don't know if the others were very, very familiar. This was an unusual. I don't know if I can get it close enough. You can see the inside. See, it's like a decorative. I don't know if somebody did it themselves.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Rather that they decorated the tefillin covers. But I love that. But this is it. Last but definitely not least. Well, first of all, it has two little buttons. But what it is, here it's very.
Oh,
It's
pretty color.
hand. It's very and on
Oh,
the
it's
bottom,
lovely.
and on the bottom it says January 1927.
Oh wow!
Oh, gorgeous.
And I tell you, this kind of thing breaks my heart because
There's the name on top too, isn't it? Didn't it say Yosef somebody?
yes, Joseph, but I don't know what the other. I can't read. If that's a last name.
Hold it up.
I mean, Joseph I can read, but the other I can't.
Who can read that Hebrew script?
Does anyone have a? I will investigate it. I'll take it in for Rachel or something like. But I just from the very beginning, these are handwork, definitely. This was done by somebody at home, and it's obviously somebody who believes in history. To have put in the date, this to me is a wonderful thing. So I'm just saying, not only should you have it, that you should have a little piece of it for your grandsons, Iris, that gives the date. That's just for my purpose. Okay, so I have all kinds of prayer books that I'm going to titillate you with for next time. You probably all have one or two of these, but this one is an unusual one.
Yeah.
This is Mother of Pearl. Most of them have jewels and are metal of some kind. But this one is and I have Haggadahs, Bibles, and sitters. And my favorite collection, which we will discuss next time, is World War II, a Jewish Welfare Board prayer books to go to war. And you'd be surprised at the difference that you can see in them. They made it look very much alike, but I have stories for everyone. I mean, I've made up stories for every one of them, but they're different. And they are different years. And if anybody has any letters written to their family in World War II, like sons or husbands, I mean, not personal where we don't want to read them, but I mean, anybody has any actually it could be any war, unfortunately. It could be in America, it could be in Israel, it could be anywhere who's writing home. And I see these people, I see them. I know I just gonna say this one thing because I can't tell from this one, but it's a abridged prayer book for the Jews in the armed forces of the United States. I must have 10 or 12 of them. And that people kept them, and whether they were used a lot, you could tell the difference. Did they really use them? Did they hold them as a talisman? I mean, we can make a story for every one of them. Whether they put their names in them, mean, whether they meant anything to them. And this one has Memorial Chapel Departed. I mean, I guess someone brought with them to I hope it wasn't a service for somebody obviously died. But anyway, I'm going to show you the prayer books I got, as well as some of the unusual decorated prayer books, Haggadahs and scriptures. So I thank everybody who brought things. And as I said before, unless Noel, did you want to show anything?
No, I'm good for the time being.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. No, I just didn't want to leave you out, that's all. Brenda, do you have something? Brenda?
I can do it next time,
Oh,
if you prefer.
well, is this more than an hour presentation?
No, this is just something fun. Can you see it clearly?
Hang
Carol,
on
can
one
you do
second. I'm looking for you. Hang on.
Okay.
Talk to me so I can see where you are.
She's dark, she's quite dark. Move the thing.
Talk for a second.
There.
Where are you? Oh, here we go. Okay, gotcha, Brenda. Oh, what happened?
Oh, we could do it next week if.
No, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second.
Oh, her picture's not on.
Oh,
Yeah, she went to just.
yeah.
make-
You need to turn your picture on. I can't highlight you.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, there you are.
Okay. Hello, Nadie. Okay.
Yes, you can see this now. Nathan and I spent a lot of time when we were on the beach in Cape Town. We used to collect shells. And you can actually take courses. Here's another one. So you can see what they are. This one, the eyes sort of broke a little bit, but it's just, not as academic as the other subjects, but just something fun.
They're very cute.
Oh, they're delicious.
Adorable.
Lovely.
Not only they're adorable, they're South African, South
Right.
African shells.
They've traveled a long way, the shells.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Okay, so I certainly now let it expand your thinking on what you might consider something that's meaningful in your family, that was handmade or given to you, and what is your idea? Oh, and what is your idea of collections? Because do you use them, or are they just collectibles? But I will bring my the two teapots that I kept, and maybe tell you why I kept them out of 54. And I will just to say goodbye, I want to show you. My mother did cross stitch, and it's a mystery to me. She never did it in my presence. I never saw her doing anything in any way. Oh no, I'm sorry. I take that back. She and her sister, we were all living together, made needle points for all the chairs in the dining room. So there was how many chairs were there? Maybe 6. Oh, there has to be more than 6. Oh, maybe 6. It had to be 8. It had to be at least 8. 2 armchairs and 2 and I don't know what honestly happened to them, but they certainly outlasted the chairs, the covers, the seat covers. You didn't keep. But anyway, they did. My mother, and I never saw it until she was gone. My mother cross-stitched, I think for a Hope Checks, cross-stitched,
How pretty.
like a finger towels, and she made I don't know why. I wish I knew. I don't know what she made it for, but I use it all the time. She made a tablecloth, and I know you all feel something special when you're using something that was made from something in your family. So if something comes to mind, and please bring it with you next week. Otherwise, I'm going to think of something like something new and exciting, like maybe we'll have a dance. Maybe we can find somebody who'll give us a dance lesson or something.
Rona, can I do a PR? There's a very interesting program tonight being promoted by the Women's League. I don't know how many of these people on Zoom have seen it. Did you get it? And it's a discussion. I can't get to it on my computer right now, but I'll send it to you. A woman is discussing what women of the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries brought to the United States. Jewish women, what 5 women kept as their mementos in their families during the past centuries. And somebody's doing a lecture through Women's League on that today. I can send it to you and you just have to sign on you have to send them an email saying that you're interested.
Okay.
What is it going to be on Zoom?
They give you an email connection. I don't know how they're doing it. I didn't look to see what my connection is yet. I just signed up this morning.
Well, if you send it to me, I'll send it to the book group.
Okay. It'll be embedded in a whole thing from Women's League unless I can separate it.
Okay.
Their weekly bulletin. Okay.
Rona, same time next week,
12:30 next week.
next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I promise we'll find something exciting. Joseph will do a dance, and he'll show you his Dodger collection. Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Did you say you were doing Haggadah collections or something next week? Or
Oh,
Charlie has a very extensive.
all right. No, we're doing Dodgers, but we can do Haggadahs too.
Oh, I thought you mentioned Haggadahs.
Okay, bye-bye.
No, I did it in the email. Nobody. Yes, Joy.
Bye.
No. I mentioned that was something that somebody might want to bring, so he can bring it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Next week.
All righty.
Everybody.
Take care.
Bye. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Laura.
Stay well. Good to see you.